When you think of church, you typically think of this. Or this. But what about this? Well, meet Gary Elliott, a race car driver with a need for speed and a love for God.
When I met my wife, Noni, she went to church, and I didn't want to go to church. And I just felt that I was a hypocrite. I was in a street gang when I was in Toronto, and I was racing, and I was doing a lot of things that church just would not fit for me.
Gary races stock cars, and this year he's celebrating his 40th anniversary.
It's very similar to NASCAR. We race on an oval track. There's mini stocks, Thunder cars, and late models. And mini stocks are just what they are, little four-cylinder cars. Thunder cars are Chevelles and Monte Carlos and Oldsmobiles. And those cars are full-bodied cars, but they're original. But when we get to late models, they're custom-built race cars. And our car weighs 2,900 pounds. It has 400 horsepower. It'll do approximately 95 to 100 miles an hour on short tracks. And it'll do 110 to 125 miles an hour on big tracks.
Stock car racing's been around since Prohibition, when bootleggers would modify their cars to outrun police. In their downtime, they would race each other for bragging rights. Prohibition ended, but the races continued, eventually becoming NASCAR. Although NASCAR has become an international sport, some drivers still stick to racing's roots. So how do you get started in stock car racing?
First of all, get something that's affordable. And I would tell them to buy an existing race car that's already built, buy somebody else's car that they're going to move up. You need a car, and you need a trailer, and you need a pickup truck to tow it, and you also need a place to work on it. You're probably going to likely get started in racing for about $10,000. And then once they get on the racetrack, the one philosophy that I tell them is, and it's sort of what I said before, is try to find the victories every night without winning a race.
Okay, Gary, you want to pray? Yeah.
So what's it like being a Christian in an extreme sport?
Just like hockey, you'll see athletes, the adrenaline gets up and they'll go over to the other bench and yell at guys. Well, it's no different in racing. If a guy spins a guy around, he'll go down to his pit crew and start yelling at him. I could choose to say, Lord, you stay here because you're not going to want to see this. I have a saying that I use, and that is that don't leave Jesus in the pits. So when I go on the racetrack, do not leave Jesus in the pits.
Though he's now known as the Christian race car driver, Gary wasn't always a man of faith.
I thought for sure, like when you come to Christ or come to religion, handcuffs go on you, and you're done. You don't have any freedom anymore. In fact, you wear a robe, you walk around dragging a Bible with you for the rest of your life, and that's it. And just don't do nothing wrong, or you're finished.
After his father died of cancer, he realized that something had to change.
And it was a struggle, a long struggle, until then, because I wasn't willing to give up a lot of things. I already knew that. I just wouldn't take the step. And how many people are walking around and say, I've heard that, I really believe that. I just need to finish one more case of beer. I just need to go and do one more bad thing. I just need to go and clean up myself first before I come to Christ. People don't understand. That's not what it is. But in April of '88, I was sitting in my garage working on my race car. I was listening to WDCX, and I was drinking a bottle of beer. And then I just had enough. And I just said, I can't keep this up no more. I can't fight anymore. I was beat, weary. I was spiritually exhausted. I dumped out the beer, and I prayed right then.
Gary's personal and racing life changed drastically after that day.
My first couple of years, I had to go home right away. I had to go. I couldn't stay there because maybe it was too tempting for me, because you see the guys drinking beer, and I wouldn't know what to say. And I never once felt like I couldn't race my car. I just couldn't race it the way I was racing it. My race car was no more my God anymore. People still thought, well, it's only going to be about 2 races, and Gary's going to be back to normal, because the first time he gets wrecked, or the first time somebody spins him out.
After a few years, people got used to the new Gary.
And I had one guy say to me one time, he said, if I hit you with God, he wouldn't do nothing to me, would he? People were phoning me to pray for them about family members, about things that they had gone wrong in their family. People were coming to me, and they were apologizing for swearing. They would hide their beer if I go down to their races.
This year, in celebration of his 40th anniversary, Gary and his wife Noni are giving back to the racing community they love.
We wanted to give away a bike every night to kids, because I know that part of the reason my mom and dad comes to the races every week is because their kids want to go. We couldn't give a bike away to all of them, but we decided that we wanted to give one bike away every night from the very first day till the last night of the year. But now, that's working so good, we want to give back from now till I retire. We're going to keep doing it.
So after 40 years, what's in store for Gary?
I have no desire to quit racing. There's nothing else I can do. In fact, here's the good news. I'm 61 years old. In 4 years, I'll be 65. Then I can race full time.
All right, I gotta trust them.
After 40 years, Gary proves that in the sport of racing, there's room for faith behind the wheel, whatever your speed limit. For 100 Huntley Street, I'm Bridget Antwi.